Manny Pacquiao will come out of retirement on November 5th at the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas, but it hasn't been determined who he will fight. Now, on Saturday night, Terence Crawford won a lopsided 12-round unanimous decision over Victor Postal to unify two junior welterweight world titles and put himself in the running for a fight with Pacquiao. Damian Lillard tweeting the following about the Crawford win. Bud Crawford, the next boxing star, been following for a few years now, making statements out here. Max, you were working this one. Should Pacquiao take this fight?
Absolutely. Terence Crawford is the truth. He is not just a good fighter. We know he's a good fighter, a very good fighter. And you don't really know for sure until they go out and prove it. But you get the sense when you're watching Crawford that you're watching a great fighter entering his prime. Now, here's the thing about boxing. Boxing, and I love boxing. And people, a lot of times, it's a guilty pleasure, and they justify it talking about social utility. It takes kids off the street, it instills discipline, etc. And all those things are true. But that's not why I love boxing. It's not why most of us love it. We love it because we like, to see who's better, and we like to see fights. And that's at least what animates me, hierarchical thinking. Who's better between these? Who wins, a tiger or a bear? I don't know, but I want to find out. It's just the way my brain works. And so it's basically exploitation, really. Boxing is basically exploitation. You could argue so is football. And it's usually exploitation of the networks and the fans of the fighters. What we want to see is evenly matched fights, brutal fights, where the fighter has to overcome stuff, improve their heart, improve their will and determination to win. Meanwhile, they're being brain damaged, right? But that's really what the fans are asking for. The managers and the fighters, on the other hand, particularly in Floyd Mayweather's era, which until he's really done fighting, I'll believe it when when a couple years go by and he doesn't fight. I think we're still in that era.
Yep.
What he showed was the opposite. It is exploitation, but instead of letting the fans and the networks exploit us, we are going to exploit the fans and the networks by not fighting the fight you want us to see us fight and taking all this punishment, by waiting for just the right time to fight just the right guy, when that guy means maximum reward, minimum risk. Floyd Mayweather said before the Pacquiao fight, when I say TBE, the best ever, I don't mean in the ring. Someone else can have that. I'm talking about the whole fight game. And he's right. If you're talking about the way he played the fight game, that's the career you should want. If it's your kid boxing, that's the career you would want, was Floyd Mayweather's career. But it set a bad precedent from fans' point of view for other fighters. Because what it taught other top fighters is avoid risks when they're not worth money, wait until the risk go down and the reward goes up, and then fight. From our point of view, fans and networks, that's not what we want. We want the Pacquiao model. Go head first into the biggest, baddest challenge. That's why Pacquiao has some losses. So he fought Morales and Pereira and Marquez, and then later on, everyone who's bigger than him.
Let's not forget, when you say Marquez, let's not just throw that out there. That's when we learned that Pacquiao too takes Ambien. That's when we learned that he was put to sleep.
Stephen A. That's
I'm just saying.
Okay,
but let's not forget that. Let's not forget that.
You're right, but that's what happens when you take real risks. Muhammad Ali lost. He took risks. So what I'm saying about Pacquiao now is it wise to fight Crawford right now? Certainly Pacquiao has chances to win. But if you want to know how good Crawford is, most, I think, inside boxing people would think Crawford wins that fight, including, I think, Stephen A. Smith. Well, and let me just say that if I were managing Pacquiao, I might say don't take the fight. But as a boxing fan, I love the fact that Pacquiao takes on challenges. Terence Crawford is the biggest, baddest challenge he could take on right now. And given Pacquiao's character and his nature and his track record, I think he's going to take him.
Max Kellerman, happy to have you on the show, bro. Not to mention the fact that, I usually don't try to defer to people because I'm Stephen A. I don't give a damn. But when it comes to boxing, I'm trying to, I said, listen, we're going to have Max on the show. When it comes to the UFC, because I know how tight you are with Dana White, and it's a pugilistic sport, and I know you the man in boxing, I was trying to defer to you. And then you open your mouth and it goes right out the window. Max Kellerman, I respectfully disagree. And you can wax philosophically and eloquently all you want to. I'm looking at Terence Crawford. He's a bad boy. Terence Crawford is no joke. He is special. You understand? He is the real deal. He's also a junior welterweight who insists on fighting at 140. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, whether it's 145 or 147, that is where Pacquiao has been fighting all of these years. Now, in the heavyweight division, it don't matter. You can be all slovenly and fat and all of that other stuff and still find a way. You know, you step into the ring with a guy that's 30 pounds lighter, and it doesn't make a difference. But in these lower weight divisions, you got to meet a certain weight. Crawford is already on the record. You know this better than me. He don't want to move from 140. Now, Freddie Roach, who trained Postal this weekend and obviously was very impressed with Crawford and spoke about how impressed he was with Crawford, his speed, his boxing ability, etc., and that Pacquiao would have no problem fighting at 140. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Max Kellerman, and say I think that's a little bit weak on Pacquiao's part. If you've been fighting,
weak to fight Crawford.
Let me explain. If you have been fighting,
bring Terence into the studio. Tell that to him. Weak to fight Bug Crawford.
I'm not questioning Terence Crawford's skill. I'm not questioning his greatness because I think he's great. Terence Crawford, ain't nothing but love for you, bro. That's not what this is about. This is about that pound, that weight limit. I'm saying to you that if Crawford was talking about moving up to 145, I get you. But for Pacquiao to have to come down to think about this. You know this better than me because this is stuff you watch. I'm watching the fight. You're the expert. Mayweather fights Oscar De La Hoya. What does Oscar De La Hoya talk about? I walked in the ring practically dead. I had to come down, meet Floyd at a catch weight, etc., etc. Floyd fought Canelo. Similar circumstances. Canelo's up to his natural weight. Looks like a monster, okay? I'm saying that affectionately. My point to you is, for these guys, that weight situation matters. I'm looking at you and I'm saying, what the hell are you talking about Terence Crawford for? How come you ain't talking about Keith Thurman? Keith Thurman is a legitimate welterweight. He's the welterweight champion. He is also undefeated. He's a knockout artist, even though he didn't knock out Sean Porter the other day.
Crawford's a tougher fight.
Because he's a boxer.
Because Keith Thurman is a very good fighter.
Okay.
Crawford's better. Just better than Keith Thurman. And by the way, I love Keith. But Crawford is, there's a difference, there's a level you can get to right before those special elite fighters.
But that's not where I'm going.
Crawford is a special elite fighter.
No argument here. I totally agree with you.
Let me tell you,
that's not where I'm going.
There's a price for everything in life except your kids, right?
That's right.
For example, I was doing a show. I was very happy doing a show.
That's right.
Then someone came over and said, hey, you want to fight Pacquiao every day? And here's the number. I said, yeah, I guess I could move up and wait for that.
That's right. That's right.
Terence Crawford is right now saying he's not going to fight. Let me tell you something. If they come with enough dough to fight Pacquiao, they'll fight at a catchweight.
I agree, and I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying to you is...
They'll fight on the moon at heavyweight.
And I'm saying to you, we can revisit the topic when that happens. But if you standing here talking about you want to stay at 140, and Pacquiao has been walking around fighting at 145 to 147, and that's what he has been doing, how come we're not talking about Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman is undefeated?
The real reason we're not talking about it is promotional issues. But even if there weren't promotional issues, in other words, who's with what promoter and who's with what network and where's the easiest deal to make, even if that were not the case, I would much rather see Pacquiao fight Crawford than Pacquiao fight Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman just had life and death with Sean Porter. Kell Brook easily beat Sean Porter. Keith Thurman's a very good fighter. I like everything about the guy. But if you ask me, is he a top 10 pound for pound? I think even Keith Thurman would say,
but where I debunked your point is when you talked about how we love these guys head first like Pacquiao that's going to come right in. What is Keith Thurman?
Oh, that's him. I'm not talking about style.
What I'm saying
I'm talking about who takes the challenge.
But I'm talking about what are they doing? You're talking about two guys that would take the challenge. You're talking about an inevitable knockout, whereas in Crawford, could he knock out Pacquiao? Sure, because after Pacquiao got put to sleep, we don't know where his brain is these days. The point that I'm trying to make to you, I'm just being honest with you, is the truth. The point that I'm trying to make to you is that
Pacquiao's still a bad dude.
He's a bad boy.
He's
a bad boy. But the point is this. You might do it, but that loss in weight might be an excuse. There isn't any of that with Keith Thurman. That's what I'm saying.
We're boxing on the show.
That's what I'm saying.
And UFC. All right, we're going to leave it there. Clearly a very tumultuous time in our country right now, a lot of unrest, and we've heard a bunch of NBA players speak out on the subject, taking a social stand on issues. But we haven't heard from Stephen A. Athletes as activists, what are their thoughts on this? Max weighing in as well. Are the guys cool with it? We get into it.
Let's get it cracking. Let's start the session. March, lift the competition, balls by that action. You can never debate it. This is actual fact. Stephen A. and Max Kale said they say it's a rap. I'm like, say what? Say what? What's up with all my haters? I'm a ball when I perform. So my jersey's in the air. I'm allergic to my haters. Every morning I prepare. Lot of clothes I can wear just like them Oregon players. Yeah, quack, quack. What it do? Rap like it's nothing to it. Matter of fact, you can ask hard and I'm cooking too. Base guard cooking too. Nah, look at you. Break mine. They embrace mine like a trick or two. 4 takes. That's you. 3 takes. Not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take. Stop me.